Greg, how has the transition gone from New Zealand international and TNS club legend and all-time leading goalscorer to coaching, and in particular the women's side of things?
Yeah, I couldn't have hoped it's gone any better, really. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, probably getting on for 18 months now, when I got told that I wasn't going to be playing anymore. But yeah, I'm loving every minute of it. And yeah, just taking it week by week, obviously learning all the time. But yeah, like I say, really happy with how it's going so far.
And you mentioned the phrase week by week. Well, last Sunday was an excellent result for the New Saints women, the first win of the season. How important was that to get that under your belt so early on?
Yeah, it was. I think it's always the hardest one, is to get that sort of first win and those first points in the season. There'd been some good performances, especially the first half of the game against Barry. First game of the season, we were very good, and then gave them a sloppy goal just before half-time. Obviously missed a penalty just after half-time, so on another day there we could have come away with 3 points, and then had a tricky game against Cardiff Met away, which any game against those top three is you're always sort of struggling up against it for the majority of the match. But again, we had so many chances, and it seems crazy to say it, but after losing 3-0, we could have come away with 3 points on another day if we'd have taken our chances and been a little bit more clinical at the back as well. So there's been some good performances. So yeah, it was nice on Sunday that we really backed it up for 95% of the 90 minutes, I guess. And were clinical in both boxes, defended really well, and scored some very nice goals as well, and ran out deserved winners. Like I said, potentially could have come away 1 or 2 more goals as well.
And there was a debut, of course, in the game, goals from players who have scored for the first time this season. So as well as the points, the clean sheet, lots of positives to take from that.
There's positives all over, yeah, but like you say, 2 new players that we've signed this season. Shan making a debut after missing the first 2 games with illness. And she's made a massive difference for us, just her energy, her work rate, and that she just wants to score goals. She will score a lot of goals for us this season, I've got no doubt about that. And Danny as well, she's been really good since she's come in, and I think the 2 goals that she scored on Sunday will do her the world of good. She scored just before half time, and she came out in the second half, you could just tell she's a completely different player, loads more energy, just wanting to get on the ball and get at players, which is what she's good at. So hopefully she can take that into this Sunday's game as well. And then the third new signing as well, Izzy at the back, was just nothing got past. Lots of composure on the ball, lots of headers, lots of tackles. So no, the three new girls have really settled in, and they're showing us, they were really sort of worthwhile signing, and they made a massive difference for us.
And as well as the victory last week, it's an equally bigger game this week, perhaps, because it's Abergavenny women, and we talk about 6-pointers, and this is most certainly the case, because a victory for the New Saints would see the side in a very comfortable position after 4 games. However, a defeat, results going against us elsewhere, you could be back to the bottom of the pile again.
Yeah, no, massive game. And it doesn't matter how early on it is, you want to start opening up a gap as early as possible. Like you say, we win on Sunday, there's 6 points between us and them. So that gives us a bit of a cushion then, and takes a little bit of pressure off. It's, as we found out last season, it's never nice propping up the table and sort of scrapping away for points, and going into games knowing you need to win. Obviously you want to win every game, but when there's that little bit less pressure on you, it's everyone can sort of enjoy themselves a little bit more, and performances, it shows in people's performance when there's not that pressure on them. They can just go out and enjoy themselves, and gives them a little bit more freedom to do what they're good at. So yeah, that's what we'll be aiming for. It'll be a tricky game on Sunday. Don't know a hell of a lot about them. Obviously done very well in their league last year. Obviously results haven't gone their way so far, so they're obviously sort of adapting to the new league and sort of the standard difference between the 2 leagues. So we'll make sure that we start early, and not make it easy for them. Go and get the game won early, and just put in another sort of controlling performance like we did on Sunday, and that's what we'll be aiming for.
And Abergavenny women are bottom of the table. They've yet to pick up a point, the only side in the league to be in that position. But when you break down the results, 2 of their defeats have been by just the odd goal. So that tells us that they will be a difficult side as they now begin to find their feet in the top flight of women's football.
Yeah, no, listen, like you say, you look at the results. Obviously took a battering against Cardiff Met, but Cardiff Met can do that to anyone on their day. So obviously the other 2 results, only losing by a goal, it's just shows that we're going to have to do things properly. We're not going to be able to just roll up and think that we're going to get 3 points. We're going to have to do it, which is good for us, I think, because when we know that we have to put in a good performance, that's when we do. So yeah, the girls all know that it's going to be tricky and they're going to have to be at it. So yeah, I think we're in a good place. It's even though we don't know much about them, we do know that we're going to have to be good and our attitudes are going to have to be spot on. And I think that's what will stand us in good stead on Sunday.
You've referenced a couple of times there, Greg, that you don't know a lot about Abergavenny women, and of course, compared to top flight of men's football in Wales, there's not a lot of information out there that's easily accessible. How have you gone about preparing for a game that, in this context, and in many ways, is a step into the unknown?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it's, when you're working with the women's team, obviously we only get sort of 2 training sessions a week, so we tend not to focus too much of our energy into the opposition. A lot of our energy is obviously focused around ourselves and how we play, and just going over the key messages that we always do week in, week out, regardless of who we're playing. Obviously for any opposition, you sort of look back to last season, the games, and maybe how they played, their strong players, their weaker players, and where we can sort of expose them. Obviously we can't do that with Abergavenny. Other than the 3 oppositions that we have played, sort of touching base with their manager. Obviously Sunday, Aberystwyth, Gavin Allen I know very well, so sort of had a brief catch up with him after the game, and went through a few things on Abergavenny because they've already played them. So yeah, we know as much as we can do, but like you say, that sort of just forces us to focus on ourselves and not worry about them too much, really. And as long as we do what we're good at, then we will have too much for them.
And you mentioned the training sessions each week that the girls put in here at Park Hall. How are preparations going so far, not only on the pitch with the girls themselves, but also off it with you as staff?
Yeah, really well. Only had the 1 training session this week, obviously due to the men's team having their home match against Flint. So that sort of ruled out one of our training sessions. But it was good for the girls to get just an extra day's rest from Sunday. Obviously they put in a good shift, so the extra day off didn't really do us any harm, I don't think. And we had a good session last night. Everyone came out of it absolutely fine. It was a good session, no niggles or anything like that. So we've got a full squad to pick from, which is always nice. And yeah, like I said, we're happy, we're in a good place, as we were a week ago going into Sunday's game. So it's just very nice to know that we're in the same position as we were last week, and as long as the girls turn up on Sunday with the right attitude, then we'll give ourselves a great chance of 3 points.
And in terms of availability of players, are you in a healthy position with a good squad to choose from?
Yeah, like I said, same as last week really. No injuries, no knocks. Hoping to have the 1 girl back from illness. Lucy Platt obviously missed last weekend, so we're hoping that she'll come back in and sort of just give us a little bit more depth to the squad. Outside of that, obviously, the 2 long-term injuries to Georgia Griffiths and Emily Ridge, they're still both unavailable. So we're hoping to get them back involved as soon as possible, really. But it's just great that we've got the new girls who have sort of bolstered the squad, and as well as everyone else, sort of being available, we're in a good position.